Hello and welcome. This is Mama Jess. Everything you wish your mother told you. I wasn't planning on talking about this so soon. I am very aware that many of you have been raised in the church, some kind of church environment, religious environment, and you are burned out with it, that you want nothing to do with it. You don't want to be around the churchy talk. You don't want to have to hear another sermon from some guy up front shucking and jiving like he's the guy that knows everything and you have to listen every Sunday of your life to him. I know that you've probably heard the gospel a million times and you have seen so much hypocrisy and abuse in the church, so you're over it. So just know that because I have been through that, and because I know you probably have too, I have hesitated to talk extensively about the fact that I am a Christian woman, because that might entail an entire, childhood of trauma for you that you don't want anything to do with. You don't want to be around Christian people, maybe, or any religion, Catholic or the Mormon or JW or whatever. You're over it, and you might be seeking something entirely different. And so I'm aware of that, and I'm wanting to be very sensitive about it. And I don't want you to label me. I don't want you to assume certain things about me, because I actually have come out of the church myself. Of course, my theology, which is accurate based on scripture, is that I know that I am a stone in the church, and that when you are a believer in Jesus Christ and you've been born again, you're a stone. And the church is people, the called out ones, the ecclesias, right? So there's a lot of theology that perhaps you know, perhaps you don't. But I have been studying for many, many years. And after so much, what I saw was hypocrisy and very weak, immature teaching and neglect of the single people and the widows and orphans, this idolatry of family, and it seemed the more children you had, the more you were apparently considered more spiritual or more godly or more obedient or faithful or whatever. And so that's the blessing of God on you, right? And so the single people are really marginalized and shamed. And so there's kind of a frenetic need to hurry up and find someone to marry and have kids. Women are very much encouraged to have children, like that is the way to salvation for some people. So I haven't wanted to talk about it, but I need to talk about it right now in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination and many people returning to church. Because if you know that I am not going to church, you might think something's wrong with me, that I am a heretic, that I am participating in some kind of feminism or something. Like, I don't know exactly what you would think of me. But I just want you to know that I left the American church because there was too much abuse. There's so much sexual abuse. There's so much disempowering and shaming of women. It does not mean I'm a feminist. I just have been around too many women that are horribly abused. It's just too much. How much there is a cherry picking of scripture for people to establish their hierarchy. And it just goes contrary to everything that Jesus is about, right? So whenever people ask me, like, so do you believe in, or do you go to church? I go, well, I follow Jesus. And I love righteousness. And you'd be surprised how people kind of perk up, like, really? Like, they want to know about that. Like, that's an interesting way that you're presenting your Christianity. Because I don't want to be affiliated with Christianity as it is today in what I call the thing called church. This thing is, there's a hierarchy established. I do not believe, after all my study of scripture, after my understanding of history in the Christian church, I don't believe in the model of one pastor and everyone is kind of a consumer sitting back doing nothing, waiting for the pastor to do all the work, when there's no real involvement of all of the other giftings that both the men and women have. So I believe more in what people would call like a polycentric or a plurality of leadership. And or if you know kind of the old school Quakers before they're now what they are modernly, because I don't subscribe to just about any denomination in America because it's a spiritual buffet. Most of it is all divisive, and I don't see a real pursuit of Jesus as life and the righteous living. A lot of people just want to find excuse for kind of goofy lifestyles in their own sin and call it like good. So some of these older Quaker models, they would just go out into a field and just come together. And presently, like, I'm tired of being in buildings. I'm tired of all the big lights and camera and action and smoke, you know, the fog things they do and all these like awesome musicians. Like, I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of all of it. I don't want the amplification. I don't want to hear another sermon. I don't want to have to take notes. I'm so burned out with the teaching. When I see so much hypocrisy, so much failure in marriages, so many children burned out and young people leaving the church. Like, for all of our talk, there's no transformation and power there. There's certainly no peace. And so I had to get away from it. And I'm so grateful that I have, because I have clarity, I have peace, I have a wonderful prayer life, I have dear brothers and sisters that have the same experience, and they too have left that environment. And just recently, one of my Christian sisters said that the American thing, that church thing, it's full of snakes and wolves, and it's dangerous. And so some would say that it's important to come out. The ecclesia, the called out ones, come out of these environments. And so in the wake of this big Charlie Kirk assassination revival, where people are going back to church, I want you to understand that I am not saying don't go. But I want you to know that I'm not going to go. And I have many reasons for it, but it does not reduce or dismiss or minimize my relationship with God and my pursuit these last 25 years. And that I have been weeping for the children of this country, that I have been seeking God to know how I can help. How can I be a maternal voice to help the young people of this country come out of the madness and the labels and even the goofy Christianity and the heady Christianity and the powerless Christianity. So just know that I love God. I believe in the scriptures. And I am not some angry feminist. I'm not angry at men. I know there's a lot of abusive, narcissistic leaders and men who want to use scripture to lord it over their children and their wives and be somebody. But that is not all of them. And so I'm going to make another video after this. So it's almost like part 1, part 2 kind of thing. But I just want you to know that I don't go to church. I have been through every church, big and small, and where 2 or more are gathered, and home, and meeting just with one older grandpa brother at a coffee shop for years. I have sought with my whole heart to find the truth that I was looking for, because the hypocrisy in my church experience growing up was devastating. There's so much allowance for just gross sin that's harming people all day, and that is not the love of God. It says it's a love that does no harm, and that's what I have been after, and that's what I have found. And so I want to share everything that I have learned about this. So again, I wasn't going to talk about the spiritual aspects or my Christianity, because I know that you guys, a lot of you are just over it, and I totally respect it. So bypass any videos that talk about this stuff if you don't want to listen to it. But please listen to the things that I talk about with physical health or emotional health and healing, or just a general sense of come home. Just welcome home. You can come home to a place of sanity and peace, someone who gets it, someone who cares about you. And you do not have to rush into anything. You don't have to feel forced. You don't have to feel anything other than there's just a mom on the other end that says, honey, I love you. I'm thinking about you today. I support you. How was your day? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on. What's overwhelming you in life? What makes you scared and sad and angry, and where do you see the hypocrisies? Let's exercise your discernment and talk about these things. That's what I want to do. And that's why I started, months ago, this concept of a journal, because I can't talk with you the way that I would want to. I can't counsel you. That's not my role. I would definitely encourage you to find sound counsel, but that can be difficult in this age, because there are a lot of people that have agendas. They have their own childhood trauma, and they're angry, and they want to, they're not connected to the ultimate wisdom. So they might give you bad counsel. It's important to be very prayerful about who you open yourself to, because they can form you in a way that might not be who you really are. So, I just want you to be able to come home and just hang out with Mama Jess. So whether you're learning about some skill set, or you are just wanting to feel close to someone that's just wants you to know peace, that I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't think I'm ever going to make money on YouTube, because I don't know if I care to be monetized and have all these ridiculous, awful, confusing commercials. A lot of these commercials are just getting more and more pornographic. I don't want you to see those. So if I have to forfeit money in order for you to come to this site and be protected, then I'll do that. And I'll find another means of income, because I live by faith and I trust God will provide what I need. And I don't have to compromise with the world to make that happen. All right, so I'm going to get on to the next video. But this is just Mama Jess sharing that I am a Christian woman and I don't go to church. I do wish that I had a larger group of people where there were teachers and pastors and evangelists and men and women operating in their gifts, and we're all building each other up in love and encouraging each other to say, yeah, we know how hard it is some weeks. We're just burned out with the chaos of the world and the persecution and the confusion. And we need each other, because we really need to just kind of lean into each other like, are you burned out and tired? I am. And you're not alone. You're strengthened simply by being with people who understand you. You can look at them like, you're burned out? Yeah, I'm burned out. Okay, let's be burned out together, and let's know that there's nothing wrong with us, that we're tired of the chaos. We're tired of having to discern all day all of the confusion, because there's so much confusion. There's so much lying. There's so many people seeking their own gain and seeking to abuse and use people. It's an incredibly exploitive culture. And everybody wants to sell you something that you mostly don't need. So I do believe that I know what you need. I have found what I need. And I have a hunch it's similar. And is that you need to find yourself. You need to find yourself in God, who knows you. You need to find out what is true. You need to understand more of history. You need to get skilled so you be independent of stupid people that try to sell you something you don't need. You need to learn to stand bold and fight against tyranny and narcissism, which is rampant everywhere, and you will find it in the church as well. So I'm going to address the church a little bit. So, all right, I'll talk with you then. Bye-bye.